This is lesson 10.3, weight, the parent help video for grade 3 everyday math. We have a few vocabulary words to look at in this lesson. The first one is weight, and weight is the force of gravity pulling an object toward the earth. So basically, if gravity pushes on something, okay, that's what keeps it on the ground, and how much mass this thing has, right, makes it depend on how heavy it is. So something that has more mass, or that's heavier, is going to have more weight. Okay, so we use scales to measure weight, or how much something weighs. We use scales. All right, and the capacity of scale is the maximum weight a scale can measure. So some scales might be only able to measure 1 pound. Other scales might be able to measure 500 pounds. Alright, so it depends on what you're trying to measure. If you're measuring a few ounces of sugar for cooking, you're probably not going to put it on your bathroom scale, okay, that can usually measure a few hundred pounds. But if you're probably going to put it on like a little cooking scale, like something smaller. Alright, however, if you're trying to measure a car, the weight of a car, you're not going to put it on your cooking scale, or that would be crushed and that would be the end of it. Alright, so the capacity of scale is the max weight a scale can measure. Alright, and this is important to know depending on what you're measuring. Then precision. Now, precision is how close you get to the actual, so target, in this case the actual weight. So how close to the actual weight a scale can get. Does it measure within 1 pound? Does it measure within 1 ounce? Okay, a fraction of a pound. Basically, the smaller units a scale can measure, the more precise, alright, or the better precision you're going to get. So those are the 3 vocabulary words that we want to make sure kids know in this lesson. And as far as the concepts, we want kids to be able to compare numbers to interpret intervals. So basically, we want them to be able to look at a scale and say, okay, well, this scale measures every 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. So they would know that somewhere in between here there's 10. Somewhere in between here is 10. So if the scale needle came to this part, they would say, well, that's about 35. Okay, so they have to be able to look at these intervals to know. Or maybe the interval is 0 to 1. Okay, and maybe there are little dashes in between here. Okay, and they would say, well, if this is 1 and this is 0, then this is about a half. This is about 0.05, or 1/2, okay, of maybe a pound. Alright, so we want kids to be able to know how much something is by the interval. We want them to be able to put objects in order by how much they weigh. So by weight, you know, we want them to say, well, okay, I see this feather here. This feather here weighs 1 ounce. Alright, and this, I don't know, this cup of sugar here. There's a feather. Here's sugar. Weighs, we'll say it weighs 8 ounces. Okay, and then this, I don't know, this boy weighs 42 pounds. Alright, so we want them to say, well, if I'm going to put these things in order, I would say the feather is the lightest. So the feather, and then the sugar, and then the boy. Okay, so just by looking at how much the things weigh, be able to put them in order from lightest to heaviest, or heaviest to lightest. And also, we want them to be able to predict the weight of an object, and then see how much it actually weighs. So, for example, you know, if they predict the weight of, let's say, a feather, we want them to say, well, it's maybe, I don't know, 1 ounce or 2. If they see, well, that feather's maybe 5 pounds, and then they check it, well, okay, it's only 1 ounce or 2, so then they see where their prediction was correct or incorrect. And so how can you help with this at home? This is actually great in a couple of ways. When you go to the grocery store, there are the scales for measuring produce. So for fruit and vegetables, so if you're measuring some fruit and vegetables, have your child predict how many pounds or ounces do they think that is, and then see how close they were. Okay, so that's a great way to do it. Measuring your weight on the bathroom scales, if you have bathroom scales. All right, make a prediction. How much weight do you think maybe the person is, or maybe you put something on there, like I don't know, say a luggage. Whenever I go on trips, I always weigh my luggage on the bathroom scales to see if it's under enough weight for the airplane. But it doesn't have to be a luggage. It could be anything. All right, it could be a cat if you could get it to sit still. All right, most cats don't sit still very well, but sometimes my cat will hop up on the bathroom scales too. Well, you can just put anything on there that will sit still and make a prediction about how much you think it weighs. If you have cooking skills, and you're doing cooking, even better, you can take the ingredients, make a prediction about how much they weigh, how many ounces you think they are, and then weigh them and measure them. So this is what we're working with today, weight, and this is lesson 10.3 for grade 3 everyday math.